Nadia from a rainy Italy.
From a rainy where?
Italy,
Italy. Okay. Oh yeah,
pouring, yeah.
I can see the stucco in the background. Looks
Yeah.
very good. Peter, do you want to have some welcoming message for the wonderful group that is today here?
Well, feels like a long time since we last met, and much water has gone under the bridge for all of us, I'm sure, but especially for you, Nadia, and me during our trip to Japan, from which you've just returned, and I about 10 days ago now. And so I'm curious where we all are actually in the world.
Hmm.
That's my opening message, if you like.
Thank you so much. Um, Peter, for those, hang on, I need to have a look here at our gallery. I think there are a couple of new faces for me who haven't joined us maybe before. So just to say, we're here every 6 weeks to talk to Peter about truly anything. So money, work, source work, love and business, Japan, love and business in Japan. So all of these topics are possible. And for those who don't know me, my name is Nadia, in short, Nadjeschda Taranczewski. I'm the founder of ConsciousU, and we do online coaching programs that are scalable. And one of them is a money program called CU Money that I co-wrote with Peter. No, actually, our little ritual at the beginning of these Ask Me Anythings is to give you a brief moment to check in with one other person. And don't panic, it's not long, it's something like 8 minutes, but it gives you a moment to ground yourself in why you are even here. Why did you show up here? What might be some questions that are present in your own life around money, source, love, and business. And again, I need my glasses. See, this is not getting any better with age, I'm telling you. Um, but I know you know this problem yourself. So yeah, we'll let you talk to somebody else for just 8 minutes. If you want to introduce yourself because you don't know that person, you can of course do so. But it's really also just about yeah, arriving here, having had your voice in the room. And let me just look. I think we'll have one group with 3 people. Just give me a second. All right. So if there are no objections, I'll send you off for these 8 minutes. And when you come back, I hope you have some questions that you want to pose to Peter. And we'll see you in a moment. Bye. Quoting. Okay, so I'm curious, what is bubbling in you? Who has a question or even a comment on the times or whatever feels alive for you right now?
I can share something. I don't have a question. I was not quite sure if I should join now because I'm coming out of the IDG meeting online
Oh,
summit, and I must admit I'm totally spent. But I thought maybe I can hold the space a bit. But what's happening in my life currently is that I'm starting to meet people, and Reto is the last one in a row where there's a lot of connection and very good accidental circumstantial meetings of people who seem to be destined to do something together. There's a lot of magic happening around me this and last week, and that's the energy I'm currently in. Just wanted to bring this in here.
That's lovely.
And
Thanks.
I had the privilege actually to just be with him, with Cast, and we met the first time in the salon in Amsterdam, and it was such 8 minutes of inspirations he shared from this summit actually. So with love, actually love in business, dominant. And he said, well, I'm so happy to meet people around me of the same taste, of the same humor, of the same character, of the same, who really want to create another world. It was pure inspiration. Thank you, Kerst.
Amazing, really lovely. Okay, what else is?
No question, but now a question is popping up.
Okay, go for it.
My whole life I'm longing for peace, not only between countries, but also in the hearts and in economy and in the schools and everywhere. And now, as I see Peter, I'm very curious if you found a way or ideas or start in the summit in Japan.
Well, thanks for that question. You know, if I found any ways, I think it was actually even, in a sense, in the build-up and in the preparations for Japan, because I was giving this so much thought and reflection. And maybe one of the key reflections I came to was that, you know, people often say peace is not the absence of war. But what I came to is that war is actually the absence of peace. In other words, my reflection was that peace is actually our natural state. And, you know, we've been talking about peace and prosperity. And I do believe that this is our natural state. So we're not about really creating peace. It's more about returning to peace. And that's my probably deepest reflection. Now, the experience in Japan was a continuation of the preparations that we had. And in the preparations that we had, what emerged, and this may interest everybody on this who hasn't been exposed to what I'm about to say, what emerged was the emergence of conflicts, actually, which probably would not have arisen had it not been for the invocation of this particular project. In other words, that we have a tendency to be in our comfort zones and avoid conflict. And the invitation to the Summit of Summits actually was an invitation to get uncomfortable, if necessary, for the sake of peace. And this resulted in the emergence of some conflicts which were really quite subtle and definitely wouldn't have appeared but for this project. And so the project, I would say as a general summary, was not that we ended up all in harmony and peace. But I think what we did was a lot of work on what I would call integration of several situations which wouldn't have emerged otherwise. And I think that is the work, you know, we haven't obviously ended the wars anywhere through being in Japan with our project. If you look at what's happening now in Gaza and Lebanon, things are still escalating. But I think we've somehow planted some seeds and are on a track which probably would not have occurred but for planting these seeds. And that's my humble, if you like, result of maybe what we've been doing there and started. So we had a very, very rich experience, an intercultural experience of how the Japanese go about I wouldn't say necessarily creating peace, but creating what they create from a collective context, which is very different from what we Westerners create from an individual context. And that was the intercultural mix there was very interesting, because we had 50%, half of the group were Japanese and half of the group were from Western and other countries. So that's my very brief summary. And of course, Nadia wrote something similar, I think, that you may have all have read, which is a wonderful summary, first summary of what we all experienced. And I think if everybody else is like me, we're still digesting what we experienced during our visit. Maybe Nadia, you'd like to add on to what I've just said.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Yeah, so what you mentioned for me was quite an interesting experience. So to notice a conflict coming to the surface in the most clear way during the beginning phases of the summit, so the pre-tour that we had, between people who are from a different cultural background than myself, because it was mainly between some of the Japanese people in our team, and noticing that they do something that I feel a lot of us have a tendency towards, but maybe in a stronger form, even because the focus on the collective is so strong, and the focus on not upsetting anybody is so strong. And I came in essence to sort of a formulation that has certainly been true in my own life, where I noticed whenever I have tried to avoid conflict because I was too chicken, or I didn't want to upset somebody, I didn't want to be, sort of the person who was being a problem. So avoiding conflict leads to me not telling the truth, lying essentially. When I begin to lie, I begin to create unclarity, because also the message that I speak in different places is not congruent anymore. When I do that, I create confusion for people around me. And once I've created confusion, I actually created conflict. And that's something that I saw with our Japanese friends very, very much. So it actually reiterated commitment in myself to not avoid conflict and to speak to irritations at a much earlier point in time. And then, Peter, what you said with sort of the 50-50 participants, with 50% Japanese and 50% from other parts of the world, I've never really been in a context where the focus on the collective and the well-being of the collective has such a strong priority over just about anything else as it does in Japan. And of course, all of that comes with a shadow side, but it also comes with a lot of beautiful things around noticing, nearly having antennas for what is going on for everyone. Is anybody feeling left out? Is there something we can do to include people? And that was quite magical for me to witness. Okay, Wolfgang, you have your hand up.
Yeah, hi Nadia, hi Peter, hi everyone. I actually just what you described, Nadia, is very, it's a very good description of something that I've experienced, and I've also shared in recent times, a couple of times in these sessions. So my question is a continuation of what I've already shared in the past. There's a project, basically a community building, online community building project that I've initiated a couple of years ago. So I'm the source of that project. And there was a conflict 2 years ago where the team broke apart. And I could say, because I created that kind of confusion for not risking the conflict of being in my role. And at the time, I didn't know about the concept of source yet, but I kind of tried to deny my leadership role, and then group dynamics happened and whatnot. Okay, so that happened in the past. And then there was a conflict phase, and after that, a phase of reconsolidation where I and one of the former team members started to rebuild the project and the roadmap, etc., and then started to revive it. And since then, or during that time, it feels very much like there are sometimes sparks of activity for us, and then there is a phase where this drops off again, and it becomes very difficult. And so now we came to a point where there is an apparent solution, and I think, and I'm afraid that there is something I'm missing. I think I know what I'm missing. And here will be my question. In short, with some support from people who are supporting us, we could hire a person with some of the funds that we have that are waiting to be used usefully, to support us to bring forth the ideas and sort of the steps that need to be taken for the project to advance and to flourish. And it seems like it could solve our problems, because my colleague and I are not bringing up that energy to advance the project in a continuous way. It always kind of goes to, it slows down and the energy is, and then it's difficult to restart it again and so on. So it's an apparent solution. We would find this other person, we pay them, we give them tasks, and then that person will help get things going. And I think that's not going to work. That's my fear, because it completely bypasses the whole source responsibility, basically, and the fact that I need. So my question is it the case that the project can only survive and thrive when the source is in the role, which means I have to bring in that energy, that conviction, that clarity. Only then we can work with another person that we hire, but that person is not going to solve the problem that arises when the source problem is still not addressed, because I'm still afraid to step into that. Is that clear? I mean, I'm sorry, I was a little bit all over the place, perhaps, but
I mean, I think part of it is clear.
Mm.
What I'm not clear about is, what I'd not be clear about is, when there is less activity, that seems to disturb you.
a very good question. The question is, does it actually disturb me when there is little activity?
Yes.
Because what's the harm if there is little activity?
Yes.
So kind of why is there a problem when things go slow?
Yes.
That's it, right? I see, yeah. Hmm. There is not really a problem. We're just not implementing something that could be implemented. So it stays, the potential remains unactivated.
Mm-hmm.
So to be really, the problem, it seems like, okay, that comes because there is some fantasy that the window of opportunity closes and there, kind of like something bad would happen. I don't know what bad would happen if we do not become active, other than we're not
So
bringing forth the ideas that we
so
have.
the question comes back then, are you avoiding something? In other words, is there a risk in taking action of some sort? Or are you just in a sort of waiting situation for perfect timing?
difficult to tell because I know I have that. I had the tendency in the past, and I can see and feel that I have it again, that I'm afraid to take initiative, to take things forward. So I'm hiding a bit behind the we with me and my colleague, for instance, always trying to align with him. I see that that has benefits, but there are also times where that kind of waiting, it's a little bit like a kind of tiptoeing around something that needs to happen, and it creates a delay. So I know that I have this tendency. What's difficult for me to say is, do I have this tendency? And meanwhile, there is no harm at all in waiting for the perfect moment? Or am I continually avoiding a series of perfect moments? And I don't know how to tell the difference. At least not yet. But I guess
so
that
what would the action be to not avoid? What would it entail? Would it entail a conflict, in fact?
hmm. Yeah, it would help to make it concrete, to give one example. So one example is that now for a really long time, okay, so here's a little bit of an part of why this causes me some anxiety. That while we've been in communication through newsletters with the community, we've made announcements of next steps that we wanted to take, and we kept on delaying and having long pauses in the communication with the community. And there's a part for that I feel somehow bad about that, kind of like, but I think this is like worrying how people will see me or us and the project as something that's, kind of, they might lose interest, so like we don't deliver, loss of trust or something like that. That's kind of maybe behind it. One concrete thing that we could do is we've prepared for a long time a poll that we want to send to the community that would give us insight into priorities for next steps to take, and setting some agenda for the continuation of the project, getting that input. And so in this concrete case, my colleague wants to suggests to delay the sharing this poll with the community until we have that new person, for instance, that I was talking about, that we could hire, so that we could introduce this poll and also introduce the new person and kind of make that one big event. So it could be a nice idea, but my worry is we create a dependency that will cause a further delay. So I think we should prepare to be ready to share that poll, and then when we're ready, share the poll anyway, and not make it dependent on whether or not we will get that one person on board or not. So this is something that I feel within myself, and it could be right or wrong. Yeah, okay, I will not figure it out until I do it. But one conflict that I'm avoiding is to go against the preference of my colleague, for instance. So even on that level, I'm stepping back and trying to hide clarity or agency that I could be capable of, or that kind of risk. So, and it might not even be a conflict with, like, maybe he says, okay, let's do it. Yeah. But yeah.
So the question, we are getting to the point here, I think. Are you clear that this poll needs to go out now?
You mean, am I clear that now is the right time that the poll needs to go out? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forget the hiring of the other person for now.
Yes. I'm not yet clear whether I'm clear that it needs to go out now. So I have to find that clarity. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
so you're not clear yet. That's okay.
I guess that's it. Yeah. So because there is an idea that it needs to go out because otherwise bad consequences, further delay, and that's the terrible thing.
Yeah.
Etc. Kind of that's the story. Yeah. But that's not the question of whether I'm clear that it needs to go out now or not.
That's right.
Yeah.
So until you're clear, it shouldn't go out.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it's legitimate that nothing happens until you're clear. See, this is actually, I mean, I think you're raising an interesting point for many people, because, you know, the alternative action would be to follow these fears that you might be too late or something like that. But if you're not yet clear, that will be actually counterproductive, because you'll be sending something out without the clarity.
Yeah.
And it's not likely to work. It's not likely to produce the result that you want.
Yeah.
So what we have to do when we're not yet clear, and this is, you know, part of our source work, is actually to hold the tension in the situation. Because that's what you're doing as source. You hold the tension until you receive the clarity. And the clarity may be a question of timing, but it may be that something else needs to happen first. And it feels like, you know, the employment of, you're already sensing the employment of this person is not really the solution for it, because you're expressing unclarity around that. I mean, it could be the solution, but you're not clear about that either at the moment.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't go in that direction until you're clear on that either.
You mean even getting the person on board if I'm not clear whether it's the right thing to do?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So this is, you know, the clarity is actually a key organizational principle within our source principles. It's absolutely central. So we don't suggest any action or decision be taken until there's that level of clarity where you not only know, you know that you know. And then that is actually the key to having things flow.
Yeah.
And it works on, you know, you're talking about a relatively big decision, but we all know this on a smaller level because we're doing it every day, you know, in trivial actions that we're taking every day. We're actually clear about what we're doing all the time, most of the time. So we know this. It's not like I'm suggesting anything new to anybody that we don't all know already. But it's just, the suggestion is this applies also to much larger decisions also when we're under pressure, like you're expressing to us. So I mean, if I were in your shoes, and this, I think the last thing I'll say, and then I'll turn to Nadia because maybe she has some more to add. But if I were in your shoes, I would just say to your colleague, I'm not ready yet to do this poll. I'm not clear yet, and I'm not ready to hire this other person. Maybe he'll give additional information which will help, but it sounds like this is your decision as source.
Yeah. Yeah.
How is this coming? How is this for you right now before we just go to Nadia?
Well, at least immediately it feels clarifying. So it's probably not going to last very long, but right now. And what I sense is, on one hand, seeing more clearly whether I'm clear or not is easier when somebody puts that mirror up or kind of ask me the question like you did just now. So for myself. It's not as easy if it's easier with another person.
Mm.
I noticed. And in each case, so that other question, which wasn't really a question, is contained in it. That is, it is my task in this role to get that clarity and to communicate the clarity or the lack clarity, kind of the not yet clarity, to the people I'm working with. And that is already a stepping into that role in a conscious way. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
I
of
see
course
that.
you can check their clarity too in their particular roles.
You mean, say again, that I check
You-
their clarity? Is that what
Yes, in their
Yes.
particular roles as sub-sources, as
Yes.
specific sources.
Mhm.
Very important.
Yeah. You mean clarity about their roles or clarity about
No.
such particular steps, like how
On the
clear are
deci-
they on
On
these
the
decisions?
decisions they take
Yes.
within their roles, because they have 100% authority within their roles,
Yeah.
where you have no say at all, even as global source, or you
Mhm.
should have no say at all. But you can and should, in my view, test or feel that they are actually clear when they take their decisions.
Mhm.
And there you have the ability to challenge them in the same way as they should have the ability to challenge you,
Yeah. Mhm.
just as kind of I have done right now. You know, your colleague should be able to say to you, hey, Wolfgang, are you really clear about this?
Yeah. I'll ask him to watch this video clip
Yeah.
the recording. So we'll have something to work with. Okay, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Nadia?
Thank you.
So there are two things that came up for me, Wolfgang. One was another student of Peter's, a wonderful man named Charlie Davis, recently gave me a Buddhist quote, which, if I reassemble it in my mind, it was something like, clarity is the absence of choice. And when you sit with that for, first there's a moment of irritation, at least there was one for me. And then I thought, actually, that's really beautiful, because it means that when you're really clear, there's only one thing to do. Yeah. And the other thing that came up for me was something that I knew about before, but really was able to witness during this time in Japan, which is their concept of ma. And ma being a liminal in between space, a nowhere, a nothingness that they are very comfortable with, much more comfortable than we are in, the West, whatever. West is a big territory. So they will sit there in conversations, and there will be long stretches of silence that nobody feels particularly called to fill with anything in particular until there's clarity and somebody actually really has something to say. And it's a very different way to hold a conversation. And I realized our discomfort with ma in the West leads to a lot of irrelevant action and words and doing. And that's something that just popped up for me as I was listening to your conversation. So I'm wondering, Wolfgang, what is getting more clear for you now?
Maybe in parallel to, so like physically, while I'm sitting here, I feel completely different in my body. So it's one thing, while our interaction is taking place. Sitting straight and feeling clear in my bodily posture. But from what you just said, Nadia, that which I was anxious about before, even though I wasn't really even so clear that I was anxious about it, namely, something's gonna happen and which through the interaction now, I feel now comfortable with this state of unclarity and uncertainty as the place to be and rest in, and I'm not exactly sure how to phrase it correctly, but waiting for the moment with and without my doing, that the clarity arises. Maybe I'll put it like that, and then bring that into action. That's kind of, I mean, now I'm speaking maybe very, very broadly, but I don't know, that's where I am right now. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So yeah, thank you.
So does that feel complete for now?
It does, yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Wolfgang. It's a really wonderful interaction to witness. Peter, you have your hand up, and Peter van Luck, I will put you in here. Hello. Peter, did you find your unmute button? Yes, there you are.
Hi, Nadia. Hi, Peter. Hi, everyone. Thank you for holding this, Nadia. It has been many times I went here, and always very powerful insights, very generous sharings. And this week is for me very special, very high level of energy, and also I'm exhausted at the same time. So it's really, really special. So in the beginning of this week, I sent a letter with a little book to Vera's parents, thanks to Joop and what came out this summer. And I made really an effort to write to those parents. I don't know them, but I will see how they will receive this letter. And today at 12 o'clock, I send a mail to all the Belgium French, or the French-speaking more masterclass people with a strong position, quite new for me. And this is coming out because of Peter's new position. As for me, Peter is now coming with the message we have to come out of our comfort zone. But I'm living for so many years out of my comfort zone that this message, I'm not concerned with this message. And it took months to see that Peter is now with this message, a message which I cannot deal with. And so I took a strong position to cut in a certain way my relation to Peter, or the way my relation was into Peter. And I didn't want to send this mail to Peter because for me, in his last intervention on my birthday, the 21st of August, he gave a half an hour Zoom message because he was not present at this session. I was not either. And for me, he took the position to taking himself out. And you will tell me, how do you see this, Peter? You're taking yourself out of the practitioner field. Because for me, in my vision and in my view, you are not respecting anymore the three conditions to be a practitioner in our love in business field. And so I ascertained that you were going out of this field, and so you didn't need to receive my message. So this is quite new to me, and I'm wondering how it will evolve. And yes, it's a special deal, very important for me, I guess. And I'm happy that we have Joop also, because the departure for Vera was also a very strong event for all of us. And I'm also happy to see Valérie here coming again with us, because I didn't have the opportunity to speak to her after a great coming together in Belgium last winter. So all these things are bringing a new position for me. And this one is what I was waiting for many times. Maybe like Wolfgang just said, it's new clarity coming in me, and it was today the right moment to express it. So thank you, Peter. Thank you, everyone. Nadia, and maybe Peter, we can interact with each other if you need, and if you feel some.
Well, thank you, Peter Luc. Thank you for your courage in expressing this also so publicly. I'm curious though, how do you see, you say that I've pulled out of my field. How can you be a bit more specific how you see I've done this, or how you think I've done
I
this?
could be, but I think it would be a little bit too technical for some of the people here around. And so you said that the way you use the tools or you use it was not strong enough to bring peace. And that kind of words I have, though I can listen again to those, but there are several passages where I can not reconcile the three important rules that we share together to be a practitioner in a valuable way in your love in business field, that you are not in line with those anymore. That's my opinion.
That is in your opinion, and I don't feel I can share that at all. I feel I'm totally in line and still coherent, and maybe we can see where you feel, but maybe this is not the right place to do that. I don't know, but what I was saying was that what I was reflecting on with my message is that I feel that the work I have done for the last 40 years and the tools that I have created, they have very, very, obviously very, very helpful in very, very many situations. And there are other people in the world who have created other tools and that are also helpful. I may be arrogant enough to think that my tools are the best tools in the world, but there are other masters who think their tools are probably better than mine. And I'm not into a competition about our tools. My wish is that we combine all our tools together. And where I'm sharing that my tools at least are not enough is in the ambition to help de-escalate hostilities on a much larger basis. And I don't think I personally am doing that. If we look at what's happening in the world right now, these hostilities are increasing.
You don't feel you are doing that while working in the love and business field?
I feel I am doing it in the love and business field, but I'm being realistic, Peter Luc, and looking at what's happening in the world as a whole. And in the world as a whole, the hostilities are still increasing. And that's why I think that even my work can be improved further. And I believe the improvement can take place through joining forces and continuing to learn. I don't believe that what I have created up to this point is the end of the road. It's doing, as far as I can see, it's doing all that I've been able to do with it so far, but I'm still open for there to be more, of course.
That's the purpose. That's the purpose of my message today.
What is the purpose of your message?
That you go further, and you go further with those tools or without, but deeper in the direction of peace or love.
So that is exactly what the Summit of Summits was about, and that's what I've been sharing at the start of this call. So I think, from my perspective, there's some deep misunderstanding here on your part, and that's from my perspective, because I think, if you agree with me just now from what you've just said, this is exactly what I'm doing. In other words, I've gone beyond. No.
I agree that you are going along, but I cannot agree that the tools are not perfect and are not strong enough. So it depends on each one using them.
I'm talking about a much larger situation, of course.
Yes, but
if you and I were to walk into Gaza right now, Peter Luke, if we were to take a plane and go into Gaza, the tools there would not be helpful right at this moment. That's what I'm talking about.
No, the tools would not be able to help, but we would without the tools.
Well, go book yourself a flight.
I don't need it. I'm doing that at home with everyone I meet.
And are you helping Gaza?
That's their problem. I'm doing what I'm doing.
So that is where we might beg to differ.
Maybe.
So
you guys, I'm going to cut in here because I'm realizing I'm a little confused because, of course, there's a big context between Peter, look what you described in a message that Peter sent, and then the message that you sent to a part of the field that I have not been included in.
No.
I'm noticing there were some questions in the chat actually, Peter, look, because you mentioned sort of the three conditions.
Yes, of course, but there is a lot to say with that. But I don't want to go into it because Peter could do it as well as I could, it's even much better. But I'm a bit surprised that some people are coming with those questions because those rules or those questions for being a practitioner, everyone has been in contact with those. For those who are going with the master class, for sure. The other ones, I think,
you
know those very well, Nadia.
Would you mind repeating?
Maybe you don't have them in mind today.
No, I don't actually.
No.
So it would be amazing if you could repeat them for us because.
No, I cannot.
Peter Koenig, can you?
Well, yes, it's very simple. The first one is that where there is a projection outside oneself, one works, one reclaims, one works on reclaiming.
That one is enough. That's the one I'm putting forward that Peter is not coming in line anymore with this message in the last session we were together, or where he was.
So who am I projecting onto?
On the world.
By saying that what I'm doing is not enough?
Yes. And by saying that there is violence there that you should be responsible for. This violence is not over there. This violence is in you, in me, in Nadia, in everyone here. You don't have to go to Gaza to feel that violence. You can remain home. You can feel it home.
Yes, I agree. How about you? Are you reclaiming that?
Totally. That's why I dare putting my message today to you indirectly, because that was my joke, but it's of course to you that I put this message, Peter.
So I don't feel alien to that at all.
No, I don't think so. I just want to go further with it for you and for me. And that's the purpose of this letter today, and of my coming here in Nadia's Ask Me Anything session.
So Peter, what do you feel is the projection that we maybe all need to reclaim? What would be your proposal?
Yes.
No, I'm sorry. What is the projection you feel we need to reclaim?
That we put forward the violence in the world, not in us.
What would be your sentence for that? If I wanted to reclaim it right now, what would be the sentence you would offer me?
Yes, yes. I am violent, and it's okay.
Okay, well, I think we can all try that. I am violent. It's okay.
Peter, look, it's not strong enough.
Okay, suggest me something else, Peter.
How about saying I'm the source of annihilation?
I am the source of annihilation. No, for me, it's not strong enough in regarding of mine, my formulation, but I can go along with that one. But my words are stronger for me.
Okay.
I guess my iteration would be I'm the source of destruction.
Yes, destruction is violence. And sometimes it is hardly needed because we have to get rid of things which are already dead or not really living enough in ourselves or in the world.
Mm-hmm. How about ecocide, Peter?
How about
ecocide?
Ecocide?
The killing of nature.
And people.
Ecocide? What do you mean ecocide? What is ecocide?
Écocide, un écocide.
Ah, yes. Okay, merci Valérie. Okay, I get the word. Well, for me, this is also included in the words I am violent. What Nadia brought, what you're bringing, Peter, those words are included in my words I am violent, and it's okay.
What I'm just proposing, Peter, is that we might all, because you know, as a practitioner of the work, that we each need to find the variation of this sentence that most resonates in our own system. So I was listening to yours and I realized, for me, it's I'm the source of destruction, which speaks to the same topic that you've raised, but somehow it creates a different resonance in my system. Yeah. And for Peter Koenig, it might be something else. And so I guess my invitation as we're moving towards the close of the session today, I think you raised a very valid topic. And the invitation would be for each of us to find what is the reclamation for me that most deeply resonates in my own system.
Mm.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's very good, Nadia.
I'm going to unpin the three of us so that we can maybe have a quick checkout with everybody here in the room. Peter, anything that you want to add here?
I don't think at this point, because I think what Peter Luc has introduced is a very deep aspect which everyone needs to digest. So I don't think I want to add any further comment on this. We in the work, of course, over the last decades, we've often dealt with this particular phrase that is obviously speaking to Peter, particularly Peter Luc very strongly now, I am violent. I can't remember how many times we have dealt with that in the past, but that has a special, as you're suggesting, a special meaning for Peter Luc beyond what has been the case for many other people up to this point. So I respect that.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, so as we're moving into a checkout, if there's anybody who feels called to sort of just into the space, what is moving inside of you right now, then just raise your hand and unmute yourself. That would be the quickest way. And otherwise, I'll call just on a couple of people to hear what you're leaving with today. Corinne.
Yes, I would just like to say that what Peter has said about I'm violent and it's okay was very much resonating with me. I've been deeply touched.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I probably needed to hear this today. Unbelievable.
Patricia.
I'm thankful for the circle the session took. I take with me the sentence from, I think it was you, Peter, that we have to leave our comfort zone. And the first I thought, oh, my comfort zone is avoiding conflicts. That's exactly what you, Nadja, said afterwards. And the 10 last minutes of this session, I felt very uncomfortable because of this felt conflict. And now I leave with with another feeling that I see I have to follow up this. For example, for me, the sentence was, I am the source of war.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, we have one more hand raised.
Thank you very much. I just want to add two things, or maybe invitations to think with me about. So the first thing, talking about the wars, maybe like was a trigger for me because I'm Syrian, so I lived the war. I know the meaning of that, and I met a lot of people who have this sense of responsibility or empathy for people who are like suffering. But I would invite everyone, like, don't to use what happened in the war to skip from this confrontation with ourselves. We need to be like really brave and look inside and not like get busy or distracted with what happened around us, the world. And also regarding the collective, maybe conscious, sometimes I think of the war as when we talk about meeting between like two people, we talk a lot about reflection and the goal of this meeting and how it could be helpful to like solve traumas or all these things, which is very clear in the level of personal relationships. But I think like between countries and folks, somehow it's the same thing. I cannot think of what's going on in the Middle East, regardless of what's going on in Germany, so the refugees in Germany are the same folk of the Middle East mostly. So yeah, it's complicated, but like we are, I feel like somehow good, not because of the war, but like it's more things, or I feel that we're gonna get some clarity maybe. It's a lot of things what's going on and we need to keep focused. Thank you.
Thank you, Rav. Okay, everybody, I would like to wrap for today. And yes.
Can I just have a last word, because I think it's important to say, and not to forget with our practice to go into the polarity as well. So the opposite of violence, or whatever the phrase is for you, and also to see that whatever we are saying here on both sides can be positive, negative, and positive. So in other words, whatever the violence is for you, there are particular situations where it can be absolutely appropriate and constructive to use this particular quality, which each of us has inside ourselves. And to summarize, that is the approach that I feel that I'm being totally coherent with, even if I'm being misunderstood. So I just want to
Thank you, Peter.
Conclude with that.
Thank you. I think that was a helpful addition. And I just want to issue an sort of invitation. If you feel this has triggered something really deep for you, because we went to, it felt like energetically we dropped into quite a profound place, and you don't have anybody to talk to and resolve this, then please reach out to me. I'm very happy to support anybody who feels they need support. That being said, please unmute yourself so that we can have our little goodbye ritual. And find somebody in a tile next to you to create a little web of connection in this moment. Thank you so much for being here, for staying here, for sharing this. Good evening, good day, wherever you are in the world. Bye. Take care.
Thank you all. Thank you
Bye-bye.
all.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Tschüss.
Thank you.
Bye.
Tschüss.
Bye.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao. Danke.
Ciao, ciao. Bye.
Ciao.